For those of you who dream of smoking the competition, Wendy's is rewarding you with weekly prizes that will have you winning. But here's the big secret to lineups: it's all serendipitous, like Wendy's new limited edition chicken strips and French toast sticks. Sometimes the best teammates are the ones you least suspect. Sign up to play Daily Face-Off Survivor Pool to win weekly prizes, like the new chicken strips and French toast sticks from Wendy's and the Wendy's app. Let's bring him in. No intro music today. Sorry, Stanch. We don't want to have technical difficulties, so no intro music today. But you're still in Club 42 with John Hamm, or as Harmon would call him, the older guy that I've seen on TV once in a while. Right behind you, Wyatt Arndt. Wyatt, how you doing today?
Surviving, boys. I'm surviving. How you guys doing?
Good, good. I want to start with last night. Your topic of the Stanchies, the one that when I was editing it at 12:15 in the morning, I texted it to you and said this needs to be in the title. Conor Garland, the 99 Corolla. Please explain.
Oh, he's just a reliable kind of guy. I think a lot of people are. I think Drance leaned in it too, but a lot of people look at points as the base, right? And I get that. It's a very good kind of point of reference to start off with. But 5-on-5 production is, obviously what you want to go with, and he's not being outpaced terribly by other players. I think 5-on-5, he is driving that line. Like if you think about it, having a guy that can drive a line on your bottom six is a tremendous asset. It really is, because a lot of times we've seen it, the Canucks in the past have had just a middling bunch of forwards that just kind of exist in the bottom six and no one really stands out. Like remember the Tyler Mott days? Like he didn't drive the line, but he got breakaways, so he was the best quote unquote bottom six guy. But it wasn't anyone that you'd really like build a team around. And I'm not suggesting Garland's like a core piece of the team, but just for a guy that can get in there and provide almost every aspect of the game for you. Like he was responsible defensively. He was making good passes. He was, again, I've never seen a player, and not, he's so small guy. We know that, but he is so hard to get off the puck. And that's something that I mentioned as well. Like Jake Virtanen would lose the puck so easily. A guy who's big, 220 pounds, couldn't handle a puck to save his life. But Conor Garland's out there getting low to the ice, low base of gravity, can't knock him off. He's drawing penalties. Obviously that was one of his best games this season, so it's very easy to come out as a Garland truther today. But that is sort of the thing you see from him on a day-to-day basis. And I think some people are kind of forgetting that, like, he has put up 50 and 46 point seasons for the Canucks, so he can produce in the top six roles. So I am kind of surprised to see a bit of the pushback from people. It's like people have been waiting to attack Garland, and I know his contract makes him an easy target. I get that, but for me, he's been one of the better Canucks this season.
Wyatt, what did you make of Nils Höglander in the top six?
He's like he's the kind of guy, like Tokic likes him, right? Like you look at, like, I know Kuzmenko is the topic of the day. You put Höglander up there. Höglander's out there. He's throwing hits. He's working hard. And it's not even necessarily that Niels is great in his own zone, because he's not there yet. He still has a ways to go in his own zone, but he's at least driving the offense, I think, the way that Tokic likes. Like at least when he's in the offensive zone, he's making things happen. Whereas right now, Kuzmenko's kind of in a black hole out there where I think even he doesn't know what the coach wants him. He just seems kind of lost at times. And like I said in the Stanchies last night, it's almost that Goldobin feeling where, like, this kid has a bunch of talent, but he's not playing the way that their coach wants. So you just don't know where the end is going to be for them. So for me, Höglander, though, he's playing fantastic. He's got a bit of swagger to his game. Like when he came in and just unleashed that shot, it was Zadorov screening the goalie. Great little shot, put it on net. And that's, again, to put it back to Kuzmenko, that's the thing where we see Kuzmenko come in and then kind of pull away from the net and go to the side, where Höglander is he just gets it done. He goes out there and does what the coach wants. So I think that's why Talk is really kind of vibing with him right now.
So Nils Höglander, Conor Garland, two wingers who are going. What did you make of Elias Pettersson's wingers last night? Does he need new ones? If so, who are they?
Well, it is kind of unfortunate right now. Like I know Mikheyev, I still like Mikheyev. I think that's still a good player for him. Lafferty, I'm also a fan of, but you're right. It gets to that point where you're almost like, we call it the Bo Horvat rule, where it's like, okay, you're just kind of hope that your center can just kind of keep his line going on his own and just give him whoever. And to some extent, Pettersson's going to have to be able to do that. Like he is, he's been lucky in the past to play with some of the best players in the team. So there are going to be times where he's going to have to carry, the water for the team on his own line. So for me, I we have all the speculation of if he's injured or not, and we'll find out later if it was. But his play has been, not as impactful as the first month of the season. So it's one of those things where I'm just trying to be a bit cautious right now because the sample size is a bit small. But I think for him, the idea that, like, obviously anyone would want to add another top six winger to this team, easier said than done. But in terms of, like, do you need to start stacking his line right now? Honestly, Pettersson's gonna have to be able to carry that line himself regardless, I think.
What did you make of the Canucks after that really rough first period, just flipping the script and completely controlling the game for the final 40 minutes? It's a type of big switch that I don't think the Canucks have been able to pull off in previous seasons, where after a start like that, oftentimes it just feels like the Canucks would sort of settle into this malaise of mediocre play.
Yeah, like I was watching after obviously that heartbreaking loss against New Jersey. That's something that can kind of maybe, get a team really down. Like you're that close, then you blow it. You kind of start getting in your head a bit. And then for them to come out against Minnesota so flat, you're sort of thinking to yourself, like, I've seen this script before. Like even I was starting to write the stands, like, all right, this is like I had like really sad gifts to show of like really small plays. Like, this is not great. I'm reaching for content. But and like I think early on, even Minnesota, like they were getting like some chances down low on the goalie, and Casey Smith. That's when he kept him in the game, and it just felt like their structure was starting to fall apart. And it was all the bad things we've seen from this team, where Rick Tocchet comes to the podium and you can just see he's tired of talking about it. I'm like, oh no, it's going to be a bad presser. And then, as Harmon said, they flipped the switch, and that's something they haven't done in the past. And this team has had some setbacks, and to Tocchet and the team's credit, they found a way to kind of bounce back and push back. And yeah, they haven't been playing tremendously great. They haven't been up and down, but they're not going into a spiral, and that's kind of what everyone's talked about. After that hot start, like it would take a spiral to kind of miss the playoffs. And right now, they're treading water until they can kind of maybe get in their groove again, and that's to their credit because the second and third period, that was that Rick Tocchet hockey right there, right? Except for Kuzmenko. So that was what he wanted from the team, and that's if you're a fan of the Canucks, that's what you want to see.
Perfect segue into my next question. What did you think of Andrei Kuzmenko last night?
I mean, I always joked about how he's the one guy in the world who can never be sad, but I'm pretty sure he's sad lately, boys. He looks pretty down. Like he's just sad in his interviews. He's like, I forecheck. I know I got a forecheck. Like he knows. But I do think that I think it was Daniel pointed out to me in the scale, like his KHL highlight package, like he did a lot of spinning and like it worked really well in the KHL. Like that is in his DNA to like spin away and find room. And some of the defending in the KHL, he would spin once and you see the KHL defender be like purely style, like, whatever, you got it. And like just give him the lane, right? That's just not there in the NHL. There's not enough room for that out there. And I really think, obviously after last season, it's almost like everything went right for him, right? Every shot would get in. He didn't shoot a lot. He wasn't a volume shooter last year, right? He wasn't a Toffoli, but everything went in. So this year, new coach, different style. His shots aren't going in. Like everything's kind of going wrong for him. So in one sense, it's a perfect test to see if he can adapt to the NHL. Like it's a good test for him. And I do think he's got a good head in his shoulders. He wants to do it, but I do think he is a bit confused as to like what he should be doing out there. I don't think it's gotten through. And I think Tocchet's frustrated. We've seen him get frustrated talking about it. I think Kuzmenko's frustrated. So now it comes down to like, are they going to figure this out? Or this will be one of those things where like you had a $5 million asset that you're now turning into a gold open, and it'll come back to that thing of like, sure, they have traded him last season and sold high, right? That'll be a talking point.
JPAT was at practice today and pointed out that Pia Suter was with the team, and JPAT also said that Tocchet mentioned that he'd like to get Suter three to four practices under his belt before Suter returns to the lineup. But with that encouragement of just seeing him back on the ice, how exciting is it to sort of think about the possibility of Suter returning to the lineup, and what value do you think he could add?
Well, I'm gonna take it to Garland because Garland I've talked about like kind of being like the Kyle Wellwood, where he's like trying to set up guys that aren't traditional scorers. Like nothing against Dakota Joshua, but he's not an NHL scorer at any point. So you're asking Garland to produce points to the guys that aren't necessarily finishers. I think Pius Suter's got a bit more of that scoring finish in him. So if you can get Garland into the mix with Suter, all of a sudden you're looking at maybe you start getting not only a third line that can drive the play, but now we're starting to score more goals and maybe take some of the pressure off of your top six lines. And maybe other teams trying to match it up a bit more gives more ice time to your top line. So I think it's one of the things that, trickles down throughout the lineup, that all of a sudden, if you've got a third line that's is now starting to put up points on the board, it opens up the ice. Because right now, honestly, and I have to say, like the top six has struggled at times with 5-on-5 scoring, right? So anything you can do to kind of help them with that pressure, that's going to help the team out.
How much did going to Bali hurt? I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I mean, that clearly is the main thing here.
Do you care at all about Shohei Ohtani?
Oh, everyone's talking about. I'm a Red Sox boy, so I almost like right now. There's like a tweet just came out saying that Ohtani's not in Toronto, he's not in a flight, and he's at home in California, and people are losing their minds, and I am loving it because I have nothing to lose in this scenario as a Red Sox fan.
Noted Boston sports fan.
No, just David Ortiz. Don't you dare do that to me.
I am fine. I'm okay if you're an Ortiz fan. Being a David Ortiz fan is fine. I like Mookie Betts when he was there. I don't like Boston. I don't like the Red Sox. Anyways. Thank you for doing this, Wyatt. Much appreciated, man.
Thanks, boys.
Noted Brad Marchand fan, Wyatt Arndt.
Don't you do it.
Thanks, Wyatt.
Thanks, boys.
There he is, Wyatt Arndt. Read the stanchies over at Canucks Army. I think this last one he wrote was one of the best of the season, and he talked about Conor Garland being a Toyota Corolla, not just any Corolla, a 99 Corolla. Canucks Conversation with Harmon and Quads every weekday at 2 p.m. Be sure to check it out on the Canucks Army YouTube channel. And if you missed it, go check it out on your favorite podcast catcher app.